Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to the number one Group of Five college football podcast in the world. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need everybody's help to do that. We need you to go to all the social platforms at Group of Five guys, hit the follow button, go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review, share with your family and friends, or you can download the Varsity app for free and listen to the show on there. On this episode, we have to discuss some potential locker room issues across the country at a couple different schools. We have to talk about the college football narratives that have been being pushed by our friends at the mainstream sports media for the last couple of weeks. They've been ramped up coming into the end of the season here. We're going to talk about the games this weekend, who we need to root for in the Power Four even, plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Jeff, I'm going to tell you right now, buddy, if we get a playoff scenario and we got to go somewhere that looks anything the way Boone looked last night, I'm not going. I mean,
I'll be there. I'll be there with freaking bells on.
No, and you know what? You know why I won't be going, Jeff? Because if that happens, I'm already preparing myself for we're going to have to postpone this game from the mighty SEC or whoever's going to have to go to an environment like that.
Well, here's the deal. If we get a snow playoff game, it's because Boise State has a home game, my friend.
I know.
I think the beautiful Mountain West.
I know, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but I'm starting to think that's pretty unlikely, the home game scenario.
Yeah.
Bye week, on the other hand, pretty likely.
Very good.
But I think we'll get into that here in a little bit. Before we go any further, before I forget, you guys know the deal. You got to support the people that are supporting the Group of Five guys and supporting this mission. And the number one brand doing that right now is Deca Gray Coffee Company, which, by the way, I ran out. So I am simply drinking a little bit of water. And I ordered it. I was about a day late. I should have ordered the day before. I should be getting it today. But anyway, you guys know the deal. Deca Gray Coffee Company. Go on there, decagray.com. Get you the Group of Five guys game day dark roast to order coffee. You put in your card number, you put in the promo code, you click purchase. That's when it's roasted. That's when it's bagged, and that's when it's shipped directly to your doorstep. decagray.com. Make sure you check them out. We got some headlines we got to hit, Jeff.
A lot.
First thing on my mind, and I think I want to talk about this because I feel like this is a good topic because we've had similar scenarios, I would say. And they're all different. Okay. Every locker room's like a little bit different, but they're also all the same, right? They also, you go talk to a coach, I remember when Robbie was our athletic trainer, and he know Jeff and I and Swag Bear and Zeke, he know us real well. We were all in there at the same time with knee surgeries pretty much. But so then Robbie, he left for Auburn. And when we would see him again, you'd ask him, like, what's the difference? He'd be like, man, on this team, there's there's your personality, right? There's your doppelganger. Yeah. In every position room, they got the same guys. He's like, I know exactly who is Sprouse. I know exactly who Murph. And it's funny. So locker rooms are different, but they're very similar, right? You think about it. You're going to get 100 and something guys from all different backgrounds, but yeah, that football thing in common. So you're going to find people that are similar. Bring all this up to talk about, I guess it was last week now or earlier in the week, you had the Georgia Southern scenario with Isaac Walker leaving the team. Nobody really knows if he was kicked off the team or he left on his own, but he made several social media posts, essentially, I don't even know if I would say bashing the staff, but just kind of, I don't know, making a statement on how, the staff and the locker room are going in different directions and whatever. And then, of course, yesterday down at FIU, you get the kid Patterson that puts out another big statement. You guys already know how I feel about putting out statements, okay? But puts out a big statement on, really throwing. It was weird because it started out saying how much he respects Coach Mack and how much he thinks he's a great man. But then 3 pages later, you'd think, yeah, you would have thought Coach Mack was abusing people. And we've talked to Coach Mack a bunch of times. Obviously, and I've met him in person. Now I know I don't see what's going on in the locker room or at practice or anything like that. So I don't want to speak for whether or not any of this stuff is true or not. Maybe. But here's just what I want to say for the fan that sees something like that and immediately is like, see, yep, we need to fire the coach. Knew it. Okay, you're talking to 2 guys on here, and if you brought Zeke or you brought Grisham or you brought Tip or you brought anybody that we continue to keep in touch with on this show, we've said from the beginning, Coach Stock could never do wrong. I don't mean that literally, but I mean, you won't say something negative about Coach Stock, in front of us, and we're not going to put up with it. You know what I mean? But there were guys on our team in our locker room that actually made attempts to gotcha, record and stuff, meetings with Stock in order to get him. And so I just wanted to say that when you got that many people, you're going to have some or most in our situation that absolutely love the guy. The guy was at Middle for 17 years. You probably got 17 years worth of people that absolutely love him. But then there's 5 or 6 that somehow think he's the reason for their lack of success, whether it be in football and life and whatever. So again, I'm not saying that's the situation at FIU or Georgia Southern, but I think we need to be careful with that because the guys at Middle that were like that, not the people you really want to trust with their statements. I'll let you go, Jeff, before I don't want to talk the whole show.
No, I'm with you. I think that, you're talking about people's, reputation, their livelihoods, their jobs, and everything should be, looked into and investigated. If there's something that's serious allegations, I'm just not I don't know. He claims that he went to the AD and nothing happened. And if that's the case, then I don't know. You need to find somebody that is willing to look into it and investigate it. Everyone's just got a story nowadays and everything's on social media. And I don't know. I'm the only people that know are the ones that are in that locker room. And the quickest way to either confirm or debunk it is ask other players that are on the roster. Get other players to back your statement up.
Yeah.
And if you get enough,
this guy at FIU has had a few, at least retweet and stuff. But I'll say this too, Jeff. It's funny, man. We see this all over the place with whether it be in sports or especially in politics. We see it where 2 people could could sit there
Yeah.
and watch the same exact thing and have two completely different opinions on what just happened.
It's very true.
And I think a lot of that, I read through the thing, and a lot of his gripes for the kid at FIU was he made I think one of the thing was saying like 90% of guys on this team came here because they think they're going to the NFL. And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, most people start playing football thinking that's what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'll speak for middle. I'll speak for us. Yeah, man, everybody thought they were going to the NFL. Guys that weren't playing at all thought they were going to the NFL. And then you had people like us kind of sitting there like talking amongst each other. He is not going to the NFL. And there's some delusion factor. And then he talked about the NIL money. And this is something that we've been preaching up here. You see the kid that just committed to Michigan for like $10 million or something.
Something crazy.
I'm gonna say he probably ain't getting it. I mean, not all at once.
No.
And if something goes wrong, he's not gonna get it. So I think it's something that, yes, coaches, if you're out there telling kids a dollar amount, you can't do it because first of all, you're not supposed to be involved with that. Second of all, I mean, we've seen it now. As long as NIL's been going on, has anybody gotten what they've been supposed to thinking they're going to get? I don't think so. Not the high dollar ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the big schools are definitely different. They got deeper pockets, and their collectives seem to have crazy amounts of money. But and I'm with you. If you're a coach and you're promising kids things on purpose, knowing that you don't have the capability through your collective to do it, that's bullshit. Don't do that. That's just being dishonest. And I'm not saying that's what Mac did or didn't do, but just guys, let's just get back to basics. Like, if you're an athlete, like I get NIL is part of the equation that has to factor in why you're going to school to an extent. But if that's the only reason why you're going to a school, it's probably the wrong decision to go there. Pick a school that is going to support you in the best way, not only on the field, but off the field. Has your degree in mind. That makes sense. Because ultimately that's the stats lay it out. I mean, it's like less than 5%. I don't even know. It's something crazy. The amount of kids that actually make it to the NFL. And I know that's the ultimate goal. And it's a lot of different factors is what I'm trying to say, but you got to make the best decision possible and not solely make it off of this is the most NIL money. Go to a place that you have an opportunity to compete. And I'll say it again. If a coach is telling you that you're going to be a starter, I don't like that either, because I don't think a coach can promise that. There's so many, other factors in why a kid plays. And if you're not at that school and he's telling you like, well, you're going to come in and play right away. Well, either they recruited poorly at that position or they're lying to the other kids. You know what I mean? Like that are on the roster right now. And I feel like, in my opinion, all a coach can do is be like, look, I'm going to give you an opportunity to be a starter. Like if I hear that, I'm like, okay, that's all I can expect as a player. Just give me the opportunity and I can take care of the rest. That was always my mindset. And we can't just get locked into, oh man, he's telling me he's going to give me $500,000 in NIL. It just, like you said, Sprouse, number one, he's not supposed to be doing that. I know it happens. And I don't think it's 9 times out of 10. Like, I don't think it's there. And you're not going to get it all at once either. He could be saying that, yeah, that's throughout the 4 years you're going to be here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of gray area in this.
Yeah, and I think the whole, like, the playing time part of it is like, I don't know, like when you're being recruited, and I feel like every coach says, like what you said, you'll have the opportunity to play right away. But that's not, I realize it can be a bit misleading if you're hearing it, right? But I think what happens is these kids hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And so they hear that and think, oh, coach told me I'm starting next year. And that's not what he said, right? I mean, you got to think, man. There's what, 4 quarterbacks on a roster? Only one of you's playing. Yeah, only one. Like, there's 3 or 4 guys at every spot. Only one of them's playing. And so, I mean, things like, I guess the message here, Jeff, number one, the message for the people that immediately take, the anti-coach side is just be careful, because kids will say stuff that's either untrue or very exaggerated, to kind of get this pity party, right? And I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm not at all. And then at the same time, a warning for kids, for players, is if it's about NIL, guaranteed playing time, going to the NFL, like, none of that, what we've seen with NIL, unless you start getting it in a contract, playing time, of course, and definitely going to the NFL, none of that stuff is guaranteed. That's all. Sure, there's an opportunity for it, but just be careful about taking that to the bank like that's exactly what's going to happen, no matter what school you're at. I mean, nobody's going to – you never are guaranteed playing time, ever, no matter who you are, no matter where you're at. And then obviously you're not guaranteed the NFL. NIL money, maybe if they start doing contracts, it'll be guaranteed. But as of right now, it's here. It's like, yeah. It's all speculation, man. It's like the Pac-12 telling the Mountain West teams how much money they're going to make. They don't know.
Yeah, did you see that? Where what was I can't remember the name of the some media company. Yeah, have you heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them. I don't know a lot about them, but
I don't know. I went to their website. The worldwide leader. I'm like, worldwide? I never heard of you guys.
Probably the worldwide leader in sports, probably owned by ESPN.
I don't know. But they're the ones trying to broker the media deal for the Pac-12. Again, like, yeah, the Pac-12 branding has some value. It does. But the reason why they had that value was because eyes were on USC, Oregon. Washington, all the teams that are gone.
Correct.
So how much more is that media deal going to be than the Mountain West? Just come over, Oregon State, Washington State, come into the Mountain West. Man. It's a great conference, one of the best in the group of 5, and you can help bolster it. And you've played the Mountain West schedule this year, and you wouldn't be in the championship game, my friends.
You did not win it. Yep.
So
you did not win it. I was thinking about this the other day as far as, the Mountain West across the board. You think they got the best fans in the group of 5?
They're up there.
I mean, a lot of people will say the Sun Belt, but then there's a lot of Sun Belt schools that don't get anybody. Like, sure, App State, James Madison, Marshall, sure. But a lot of empty stadiums in the Sun Belt.
I mean, then there are in the Mountain West too. But I would say
not many though, huh? San Jose,
New Mexico.
Yeah,
there's a couple. I would say they're pretty equal. I don't know. We'd have to look at attendance. I honestly, I'd probably bet the Mountain West is a little bit more. Like when you break it down to attendance,
this is just speculation too. I feel like they got bigger stadiums too.
Yeah.
In the Sun Belt.
San Diego State hasn't been a great draw.
No.
But Fresno has for years.
Fresno does. Yeah.
But
you got to think whenever I think about this, I think, okay, who's not great? Utah State, they still get a good showing.
Yeah.
Colorado State's been pretty good this year, but they're getting a good showing.
They're on the rise. We bring up the Pac-2 or whatever, Sprouse, and you still hearing these rumors, but Texas State Bobcats. Yes, new contract for G.J. Kinney, 7-year contract averaging $2 million a year. It's a pretty good contract. I hope that keeps him there, so he can really continue to build this program and be a premier program in the group of 5. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, when we went there, we've said this all the time. They're the perfect storm right now. Location, obviously, fan base, pretty good, pretty damn eager to be really good. President, AD, head coach, all aligned. I mean, I don't know why you leave that.
Yeah.
That's my thought for Kenny. And I mean, again, I realize some of the money is such an astronomical amount that it's hard to say no to, but I mean, look at Billy Napier. Okay. This guy went from being a legend in Lafayette to it's literally week by week. They love him. They hate him. Fire him. Keep him. Get him out of here. And it's like, that's the rest of your life, buddy, if you take one of those jobs. So now I don't know. I get it. That's Florida. That's a little different than some of these others. I don't know what's going to be open or anything in the next year or so, but
I don't know, Sprouse. I'm starting to feel like that's becoming the norm everywhere at these Power
even
4
in the
schools.
Group of 5, it is.
Yeah, even at the Group of 5 too. But I just even more so, like, coaches ain't lasting very long at any school, and the expectations are sort of getting ridiculous. And I saw this when this news broke about Kenny, and people are talking about it, and some pundit talking head on social media was like, not sure if this is the kind of money we should be investing to really build long-term success at a program. And I'm just like, okay, you can't have it both ways. When a coach leaves for a bigger contract at a different school, we go, damn, I wish the school would have paid that coach. So now the school's anteing up, getting behind the coach, pays him, and now you're saying, well, I'm not sure that this money really needs to go to one person, because when you're talking about, like, shut up. Like, you can't have both of them. And this, to build long-term success, you know what you need? Continuity. You know what this does? Builds continuity, because Kenny, barring some astronomical contract, which is possible still, they'd have to buy it out and then offer him a new one.
That's
but this
the
is
thing,
gonna,
though.
This is going to build long-term success.
That's the thing, though. Even if he goes elsewhere, somebody's going to have to pay that money in the buyout.
The school gets it back.
So you still kind of win in that regard. Speaking of pundits, Jeff, have you heard quite possibly the most ridiculous thing in the history of sports media?
No, I don't know.
Well, two things. One, I was scrolling through the Twitters yesterday, and I saw one of these Barstool guys was talking about Indiana like forfeiting the game because
I saw that.
But I realized he was. I'm not an idiot, okay?
Yeah.
I realized he was being sarcastic and halfway joking. But then I think I got tagged, or we got tagged in a clip. Joey Galloway. Okay, Joey Galloway. Great player. Dallas Cowboys for a long time. Notre Dame guy, I believe. This is probably why this makes more sense. He's a Notre Dame guy. I think he's a Notre Dame guy.
I'll tell you.
Said that Indiana should bench Curtis Rourke this weekend against Ohio State.
He's an Ohio State guy.
Oh, well, then it makes even more sense. Notre Dame, Ohio State, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we are now posturing. It's not, hey, go win all your games. You'll be in the playoff. Which is what we wanted, right? It's what everybody wants. Hey, go win. Go prove it on the field and get in the playoff, and then prove it in the playoff. But now we are posturing for seeding. This is what fans do, okay? Fans, not necessarily in college football, because this is new to college football, but right? If you're sitting there, if I'm sitting there as a Dolphins fan, I'm like, well, but if we win, we got to go to Buffalo and play in the first round of the playoff. But if we lose, we only got to go to whatever. And I'd rather go here to be this, the weather, play on a Saturday. And like, you start thinking about these things. Players are like, let's just go take care of business and win. Coaches are like, let's go take care of business and win. Kirk Cinetti is not going to bench Curtis Rourke. But the fact that we got up there and legitimately claimed that, and it's not because I know what people are going to say. Well, Sprouse, you said when Army plays Navy, if Army's in the playoff, completely different. You already at that point are in. You already have your spot. Now this game is not a conference game. It's not even a regular season game. It's an exhibition, essentially. This is with a conference championship on the line. And you think they should bench their quarterback?
Stupid.
So that they can only lose once and be in the playoff. And again, that's where we are too. We are rewarding not making the championship with this committee.
That's an absolute ridiculous take. Like, you're not going to bench your starting quarterback for the for essentially the playing game to get to the Big Ten championship game. Like, this just shows that people on ESPN and Fox, like, they don't know. They have the stupidest takes, and they have some takes that are good. Don't get me wrong, but like, they put their pants on just like we do, Sprouse. That's my point.
I don't know that they do.
They jump into them?
I think
probably just don't wear pants at all.
I was going to say something inappropriate, but I won't say it. Jeff, you know what's funny? Somebody liked this tweet this morning, but I made this tweet from the Matt Sprouse Twitter on January 1 of this year, and I stand by it. Actually, I actually stand by it even more so than I stood by it when I tweeted it. How to fix college football. Number 1, 16-team playoff, which at the time would have been all 10 conference champions and then 6 at large. You still could have got your 4 SEC. Yep. I mean, you still could have got 3 or 4 Big Ten. You still could have done it. Okay? That was number 1. Number 2, no signing day or transfer portal until after the national championship is played. And everybody would say, oh, well, Sprouse, but the national championship's not till February. What are we going to do? How are we going to sign? Well, hold on. That's why we moved to a 10-game regular season with the conference championship weekend being Thanksgiving weekend. Why do we do it Thanksgiving weekend? Well, Thanksgiving weekend in the regular season, a lot of fans are home. A lot of students are not around. Nobody's going to the game. You would solve that. Hey, there's only 5 games, 10 games, 5 in the group of 5. They'll go to those games, championship games, the only games being played on Thanksgiving weekend. First round of bowl games, first week of December. That's your first round of the playoff. National championship is played New Year's weekend. And I also put 1 free transfer, or you have to sit out a year. And then I also put cap on the NIL. I mean, I know you're running for mayor, Jeff.
I mean, you might need to run for...
I might run for NCAA commissioner.
I'm with you. You got my vote, pal.
I mean,
it's pretty simple,
okay.
Honestly.
Well, here's the thing, and here's my thing about this 10-game thing. It would you'd play maybe 1 non-conference. You play all conference games. That way you avoid the situation like Indiana has, where they haven't played any of the good Big Ten teams, is what everybody's saying. Or you have the situation like Texas. The only good SEC school they played, they got their ass kicked by. So how they're sitting there at number 3 is baffling, but it's neither here nor there. And you would avoid, I mean, look at this weekend, Jeff. The grind of the SEC. They play 1 less conference. So their conference is so damn good, and they have such a tough schedule that they play 1 less conference game than everybody else plays. And here we are, November 22nd. These games will be November 23rd, 2024. Georgia's got a big one, but they got UMass at home.
Big game.
Tennessee's got UTEP. Love UTEP. They're one of the worst teams in college football. South Carolina's got a huge one, in-state rivalry against FCS Wofford. So, what are we?
Yeah, well,
I think Alabama's playing Mercer at home. Or did they already do that? They already did that. So, you get rid of those games. I realize you got to have these money games and this and that, but again, in my opinion, I think you're with me here, Jeff, is if you do this playoff format where every conference gets at least 1. Number 1, all those games are so much more meaningful. Your MAC games on Tuesday night are huge. Think the TV deal is not going to get better if every single game has a playoff berth on the line? You think you're not going to be able to get better recruits? You think you're not going to be able to get better donors, more NIL money, if you legitimately have a chance? Right now, dude, if I'm a millionaire, why am I going to give a ton of money? I mean, I give what I give, a couple $100, okay? But a ton of money to middle, when I know realistically, like, they're not going to be a playoff team, right? Or a certainly not a national championship contender. But if I knew they were, if you were one of these guys that owns one of these huge concrete companies that's a middle graduate from the concrete program, you don't think they would want to give a little more money than they're giving?
Well, I said this when we talked about it. It would help everybody. It would benefit every facet of college football. And if you don't want to watch, the Conference USA champion against the Big 12 champion or whatever in the playoff, then just don't watch it. But more meaningful football more meaningful football down the stretch can never be a bad thing. And I think it would solve some of the conference realignment stuff where, you got these teams trying to posture to get into the ACC or get into the Big Ten or get into the SEC when every conference champ would have a shot. Like, it makes more meaningful football later in the year if you allow all the conference champions to, and I promise you, you get to the playoff with all conference champions and you got your at-large. You're still going to have your SEC extra teams, your Big Ten extra teams. Now that we only got 9 conferences, that's 7 at-large, your highest ranked. And honestly, if the big schools be like, well, it's unfair because the Conference USA champion doesn't get to play. Well, then go to Conference USA then.
Bad.
Go over there. Why don't you guys leave the SEC and go over there? Then you'll be in the playoff every year. But you won't do that. So stay in your lane, control the controllables, win your league, and go to the playoff.
Jeff, the way it sits right now, you're getting 5 auto bids from conference champions with 12 teams, and you're wanting to get 4 SEC and 4 Big 12 and Notre Dame. Got to squeeze Notre Dame in there. It would literally be the exact same. You move to 16 teams, and you still have your same thing, but now you just have your Conference USA, your other 4 conference champions. That's it. And I don't care. You could seed them how you want them.
Yeah,
you could put every one of them. You could make whatever. You could make the MAC champ go play the big. You could do it like that. Even you could make it even more fun and make it real regional. And you can make the MAC play the Big Ten in round 1. You can make the Sun Belt play the SEC in round 1. You can make Conference USA play the ACC. You can make the American play the Big 12. You do it just like that.
Well, see, I think that helps this stupid Cal traveling to Boston College. Like, you could get back by doing this. You could get back to regional rivalries, regional games, the way college football was intended by doing this, because now teams don't have to, West Coast teams don't have to be in the Atlantic Coast Conference because they have a shot at the playoff. They just got to win they just got to win their conference. And you can keep a lot of this old history, old rivalries. Like, I failed to see a negative aspect of it other than people are like, oh, they're going to get killed. Okay, well, let them get killed and you move on.
Maybe.
You get to move on and play another game in the playoff, and you get another payday because it's a big media game. Like, somebody poke a hole in this argument, please.
Yeah, and if they do get killed, right? Like, see, my thought is always this: whatever gap you think there is, again, okay, you make the playoff and get killed, okay, but then you can go to your donor base, say, hey, look, man, we're like a QB away. We need to raise somehow. We need to get like $100,000 from this donor group to get the one we want this offseason. If we had them, I think we win a playoff game or 2. Oh, okay. Not, hey, we went 6-5. We need some more money so we can go 7-5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're going to be able to get better recruits. And then you're going to say, hey, look, we got this. Then your conference can go get a better TV deal.
You know what else this would help solve? Not completely solve it, but help it.
The portal.
Yep. And the coaching, the late portal coaching changes or rumors like we saw with Barry Odom going to West Virginia. Just stupid.
That was a fan account.
I know.
I mean, who knows? There may be a rumor, but
I said it on Twitter. That person deserves a swift kick to the nuts.
Yeah,
for posting stuff like that.
Can I say one last thing on this with these conferences?
Yeah, then we gotta.
They're all up in arms, right? But again, we talked about this on Wednesday. They did this to themselves. every conference went away from divisions, and this is group of 5 too. Every conference went away from divisions with the idea that they would get their 2 best teams in the championship game so that their 2 championship representatives had the shot at the playoff, or their winner would for sure get in. And I don't know that there's a conference that it has not backfired on, because you're getting one team at least in every conference that isn't necessarily the second best team. They're just the team that didn't play the first or second or third best team. Look at the Mountain West. I like what Colorado State's doing, but they're not better than UNLV. They just hadn't played UNLV or Boise State or San Jose State. I mean, so you now, Boise State, if you're looking to make a playoff run, could have gotten another ranked win at the end of the season to boost their resume. But now they're going to play Colorado State, which is fine. Colorado State might end up, if they keep winning, they might end up getting to 25 or something in the polls if they, I mean, hell, everybody's knocking them because they lost to Colorado. They didn't get blown out by Colorado, and Colorado is turning out to be a pretty good team.
Yeah. They did get blown out by Texas, but it's opener.
They did.
First game of this year.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. But yeah, it's happening all over the place, except for the Sun Belt. They got it right, because they got both divisions wide open right now. Literally any team in the conference almost can make it still.
Battling.
That's the way you want it. But anyway, I know you have one. I know we got to get going and talk about football here in a second, Jeff. But I know you wanted to play that clip from our friend Jake Crane, not his brother Blaine, who has, I don't know why he thought it would be a good idea. I mean, we had Josh Pate, and I don't know, lately it seems like G5 Josh he's making some points where I'm like, hey, it's like, I agree with him on the points of like these ACC Big 12 schools that they think everybody thinks they're Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and they're not. And we're finally seeing that come to fruition.
Yeah.
So all those fans, it's like, we're sitting there saying like, come on in, guys. Water's fine. This is what we've been telling you guys for 3 or 4 years now. So I think Josh kind of agrees with us on that. Like, yeah, there's 3 or 4 like really good programs and then everybody else. But I think he still thinks there's a gap after that. Then you got Danny Cannell, who makes some idiotic comments. Now, he's on this fight against the SEC, but that's just because he's a Florida State guy.
Yeah.
And he's salty about that. And Blaine Crane, I don't know why we had our enemies. Blaine, you were one of us, I thought. And he decided to talk about a participation trophy. Became public enemy number 1 in the group of 5. Now, his brother Jake so far, he put out a take on Twitter the other day that's pretty agreeable.
Yeah. Listen to it.
To all of the Power 4 loyalists and the group of 5 protesters, we are all having the wrong argument and debate. Because if we had an actual tangible rubric to grade teams, we wouldn't have this infighting of group of 5 and Power 4, because there would be metrics to explain why teams are where they are. There would be no need for an automatic group of 5 bid if we actually used a recipe of legit numbers to find the best 12 teams. So you can scream on one hand that the group of 5 gets no love and it's not fair, or on the other hand, you could say only Power 4 teams should get in. The group of 5 should not be allowed. But this whole vacuum has been created because of a lack of substance in rankings, which has opened the door to this class warfare between the two sides. We can talk about the merit of the top 4 conference championship game winners getting an automatic bid, but in reality, there should be no automatic bids. Only the best 12 teams graded on a scale evenly across the board. The reality is some years there should only be Power 4 teams in the playoff. And other years, there should be 1 or possibly multiple group of 5 teams in. Every year is not the same. We saw Cincinnati make a 4-team playoff. So pretending like the group of 5 never gets in is burying your head in the sand. And to those who think a group of 5 teams should never get in, you're pretty much doing the same thing. The argument we should be having is what are the metrics that we need to use to rank the teams? But once again, since we can't point to anything tangible, we walk down this path of conspiracy theories and identity politics when it comes to the playoff rankings. By having actual metrics, coaches and teams would know what they have to do from a strength of schedule or style point standpoint. There could be critiquing, But at the end of the day, everybody is graded on the same scale. Let's put it in this term. How can I get a passing grade on a school project if I don't know what you're grading me on? The reason we don't have this is because that would take away the power and control from the ivory tower elitists of our sport. To put it plainly, we need a computer, not a committee. And the debate should take place over what value should go into that ranking to determine it, not this class warfare that we have going on. So once again, if you are screaming we always need a group of 5 rep regardless, I think you're wrong. If you are yelling we never need a group of 5 team regardless, I think you are also wrong. We need a system guided by numbers and values, not a smoke-filled room where transparency disappears and pockets get lined. To all of the
Sprouse?
Well, as a real simple metric would be win the conference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. We don't want a charity spot.
No, not at all.
But we just don't want you to look at a 12-1 Boise State and come up with a strength of schedule argument when the strength of schedule is made up based on who you thought might be good, which is biased.
Especially preseason rankings that they get benefits from.
Which is why I've been sitting up here. I mean, we're seeing this Indiana-Ohio State thing right in front of our eyes. Indiana, they haven't even played the game yet, and it's already being pushed. Well, Indiana hasn't beat anybody good. Okay. Well, then, so if Ohio State beats Indiana, Ohio State's going to get credit for a big win over a ranked team, and Indiana's going to get knocked down because they haven't beaten anybody. It's like, well, which one is it?
Yeah.
And so we make up the strength of schedule thing. When if you really look at a Boise resume, I mean, two teams that are both ranked, they beat. They might have to beat one of them again for a third ranked. They went on the road to number 1 in the country, but somehow strength of schedule just
in that
isn't mentioned just because everybody hears group of 5 and thinks,
well, that's
bad conference.
Well, that's why, and I know we got to move on. That's why I like the conference championship get in, because you value conference play and winning your conference. I think that's important. I think if we completely get away from that, then what's the point of even being in a conference and trying to win your conference? Whereas if you win your conference, you're in, and then the next 7 spots are at large, and you get in how you fit in. So I think I think it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it doesn't leave it up for debate.
Yeah,
we're in the conference championship because of the standings, and again, that would fix it if you played more conference games and less FCS games. But we got to talk about football. So one last thing, I'm going to go through the Power 4 rooting interest for the weekend. We probably want Arizona State to beat BYU. We definitely want Kansas to beat Colorado. Those are both, I think, they're certainly doable. Yeah. One that is pretty unlikely, but I think would eliminate one of your Big Ten teams is if Minnesota goes in and knocks off Penn State tomorrow. You want that. Another one, nobody's talking about this. To me, this is the most likely, is Florida to go beat Ole Miss.
They're playing better.
You can get Ole Miss right out of there. Now, then, of course, you'll start hearing about why 5-loss Florida deserves to be in the playoff.
Come on, Billy. Do one for the G5.
Yeah, come on, Billy. Do one for us, buddy. You'd like to see Kentucky beat Texas. Probably pretty unlikely. You'd actually love to see that too, because then you might get a Mark Stoops extension. Kentucky might get another year. But then, like I said earlier, Georgia's playing UMass, Tennessee's playing UTEP, South Carolina's playing Wofford.
Hey, shout out. Yeah. Tim Meadows is going to the game in Knoxville. Supposed to come through the deli on Monday for lunch.
Really?
So hopefully get to sit down with him and talk to him and his family for a few minutes.
Joe says Oklahoma's beaten Bama in Norman. I don't know about that.
We'll see.
That would knock Bama out of the whole thing.
They'd be out. They'd be done.
And it would also make Tulane's loss to Oklahoma look a lot better. Again, I'll say this. I don't want to sound like your Power 5 people, but when Oklahoma beat Tulane, number one, it was a lot close. I mean, the game was a 5-point game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's had so many injuries since that game. And Tulane's coming in with a freshman quarterback in his first true road game.
Big road game.
Anyway, so let's talk about the ACC. Here's my question for you, Jeff, real quick. Speaking of Tulane, what's better for Tulane? Army beats Notre Dame and gives Tulane the chance to boost their resume in the conference championship game, or Army loses to Notre Dame and Tulane hosts, more than likely, the conference championship game?
I think that's easy. I think Tulane wants Army to beat Notre Dame. I know they probably want a home game in New Orleans, but I don't think they care as much as Army beating a top 10 ranked Notre Dame team for them to then play in the conference championship on the road and win that game. I think if you're wanting to get into the playoff, that is what your best shot at it would be, because that's the most challenging situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. But
I want a home game in New Orleans.
Yeah. Army's got Notre Dame, 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC/Peacock. Hope it's on regular NBC and not one of these weird Peacock things.
You have to download the app.
No, I'm not doing it.
You're going to get locked out.
I didn't watch Dolphins Chiefs playoffs last year on Peacock because of that. Actually, I did. Matter of fact, I don't know if I should give a shout out to the person that gave me their password so I could watch it. It's a Raging Cajun fan.
Nice.
What do you think, Jeff? Army got a shot at this?
I think they do. I think the brand of football that they play supports this game, especially it not being a blowout, because they play great defense. You know they're going to try and control time of possession. They have better athletes, in my opinion, than Navy does. I think they have a better supporting cast around their quarterback as far as speed, combination of speed and power with Udo. I think they have a chance to win. I think it's going to be very close. I hope it's very close. The neutral site game is not my favorite, but being cold, it should be cold up in. Yeah, it should be cold in Yankee Stadium, I would imagine. Hadn't looked at the weather up there, but it's cold down here in Tennessee. It's cold up the coast. So I want it to be cold, possibly wet. Let's make it a nasty physical game. Those offensive linemen cutting those defensive linemen every single play. You think they're going to want to keep coming? And then they go a little play action and throw some balls. I think Army's got a shot. I really do. Mainly because of their defense.
Yeah, I think the key here, you saw what happened with Navy. They turned it over for like the first time all year against Notre Dame, and then it got away from them. And that's what'll happen. Number two, if you get down 14-0, something like that, you can't get away from what you do. You can't start forcing stuff. You can't start forcing the pass. You got to stick with what you do. I think, man, I think Notre Dame's going to win. I'm a little I'm pretty nervous about it. I mean, Notre Dame's been playing pretty damn good since they lost to NIU. They've been playing pretty good ball. What's the spread? I didn't even look at what the spread is. It's got to be 13.5, maybe even more.
I'll tell you. Hold on. It is 14.
I'm good. I mean, that was 13.5 was the guess on that.
So here's
14, so you got to take Army plus. You got to take Army plus like 14.5 there.
Yeah, and the total's 45.5. So if the spread is 14, I mean they're banking on Army scoring some based off that over under.
I think that's about right.
It's gonna be a great game. I hope it's gonna be a great
kind of game. Yeah. Yeah. So not going to really talk about the other American games. We already know the championship game in the American. So you got Temple at UTSA, Rice at UAB, Charlotte at FAU, 2 interim head coaches there. ECU at North Texas and Tulsa at South Florida. Conference USA. How about this? Say what you want about Conference USA. The only conference that their 4 best teams are playing each other this week and next week for a shot at the conference championship game. You got Sam Houston at Jack State, and you got Western Kentucky at Liberty. These 2 winners are going to have the inside track at this thing. If Jack State wins, they're in. I'm fairly
Yeah.
certain. And then if that happens, you know, they both, Western and Liberty both would have to win again next week, right, to guarantee their spot.
Yes. Believe that's correct.
Well, Western's only got one loss in the conference, correct?
I'll tell you. Hold on.
And Liberty's got 2.
Western's got 1 loss. Sam Houston's got 1 loss. Liberty's got 2
Yeah.
losses.
So if Jack State wins, they're in. Liberty's got to beat Western, and then what? Sam Houston next week.
Yeah.
So they still got to win out.
Yep.
Western, if they win, is in, I believe.
Yeah, because they beat Sam Houston already, right?
Yes. So Western would only have 1 loss and head-to-head over Liberty and Sam Houston already.
Correct.
I believe. So then if that happens, you'll have Jack State and Western next week and the following week in the championship game. So Western and Jack State win tomorrow. That's your championship game. Liberty wins. Then Liberty's got to win again.
Yep. If Liberty wins out, they're in.
Week. Yeah. So if Liberty wins, then you have winner of Sam Houston and Liberty in the championship game against Jackson.
There is a tiebreak. If Liberty,
if Sam Houston beats Jack State, there's a weird tiebreak.
Yeah.
Then, but Sam Houston already had, because then there could be a potential Sam Houston, Liberty, Western 3-way tie. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think Jack State's going to win.
Yeah, I do too.
And I don't know. The Western Kentucky team shows up from last week, but I don't know. Liberty hasn't really showed up all year.
I mean, they almost lost to UMass.
So, you know what? Give me Liberty. Home game, cold, big crowd. Give me the Flames.
I'm going the Hilltoppers. Then they have a bounce back week. If they don't, they're in big trouble.
Yeah. Now, are you going to the middle game on Saturday?
I will be there.
You're damn right.
Last home game of the year, senior day. Gonna be a little cold. It's all right. Got an 8 a.m. basketball game for my oldest kid, so we're going right after.
This weekend and next are always like the worst crowd weekends because for most teams, season's over.
It's cold.
It's cold. It's raining usually. I mean, these are bad. These are tough, man. FIU is at Kennesaw State. You know what the hell? I mean, FIU's locker room seems to be in shambles.
Yeah, I mean, they should win this game.
Yeah, they've been. Man, it sucks. I've been saying it all year. Like they've been playing decent. I mean, they're in every single game, no matter who they're playing. They're in it. And then La Tech going to Arkansas, sneaky.
La Tech's been playing people tough too.
They have. In the MAC, we're back to Saturday for Bowling Green and Ball State. Assuming Bowling Green wins this game, it'll come down to next weekend, right? Miami versus Bowling Green. Winner goes to play Ohio in the championship game. I'll tell you, man. I'll tell you who looks good, and I think they might be mathematically out of it at this point, but that's Buffalo. Buffalo looks really good. Ogbonna, that QB is a good player now.
He's been playing better as of late, but I'll tell you who's a freaking stud, Sean Dolak.
Oh, yeah.
2 interceptions, returns 1 to the house. And it wasn't just like he had a straight shot.
I mean, he was showing off the moves.
Yeah. Look good.
That was probably the best day of his life. You know that?
Yeah.
Somebody scores a touchdown it's not supposed to score. And they're making moves. I mean, he's probably cracking up as that's happening. But it happened to me. I scored 2 touchdowns in high school. You know that, Jeff?
There you go.
Picked off a screen one time, housed it about 30 yards. And I was cracking up the whole time I had the ball. I was looking for the quarterback. I was trying to truck his ass into the end zone, but he ducked. He ducked and he just kind of peeled back and got out of the way. But I think Bowling Green's going to win this. I think Bowling Green's the best team in the MAC. I do
too.
I think they're going to win this, and then that's going to be a freaking showdown next weekend, boy. That's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So give me Bowling Green over Ball State here. In the Mountain West, UNLV has just got to root for Colorado State to lose. Although UNLV's got to beat San Jose State tonight, which we saw what San Jose State, they play well at times. I think UNLV's defense is better than Boise State's defense, especially on the back end. So I don't think it's a Nick Nash show, but they got to win, and they got to root for Colorado State to lose to either Fresno State tomorrow or Wyoming? No, it's Utah State next week. Yeah. Interesting, though. Fresno State's 3-point favorites at home against Colorado State. 10:30 p.m. Eastern kick tomorrow night. It's the nightcap, CBS Sports. It's going to be one we got to stay up for.
We might get this. We might get the rematch, the showdown, UNLV Boise in the championship game. Who's not? Because Fresno has the talent. That's the thing. Yeah. Fresno has the talent. I thought they were going to be competing for a Mountain West championship this year. They just haven't performed. They've had a couple injuries here and there. I like UNLV to beat San Jose State. I like them to cover as well. And Fresno State at home is a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I got the Colorado State hat on. I'm rooting for our guy Matt Mummy. I want to see them. I want to see them go. I want to see them go, but it wouldn't surprise me if Fresno State. I'm going to go Colorado State in this, but I'm not. I don't feel great about it.
Well, I'll tell you, I like Colorado State's defense lately.
They've been changing.
You go from you run in that air raid, and you think it's going to be the Fowler, Nicolosi, Torrey Horton show. Torrey Horton gets hurt. They kind of adjust their whole offense.
They do. Avery Morrow, Justin
slowing
Marshall
it down a little bit. Yep, and start playing
rock.
Good defense, and now they're winning. It's old school, man. Run the ball, stop the run, play good defense. You're gonna be in every single game, and you got a chance to win, especially this late in the season when the weather does get bad.
There's something going on at Fresno that's just we don't know about. At least it feels weird. That way.
Fresno, to me, if you're UNLV, UNLV plays tonight, so they'll be watching that game intently. They may have a watch party in the film, in the team room,
the Fertitta complex.
Assuming, of course, they beat San Jose State, which that's going to be a fun game, by the way. That's a good game for tonight.
Yeah, it is.
It's a really good game. You're going to see UNLV's got some defensive backs. That kid Catalan, I think he's a Texas transfer. He's a damn good player.
And you got the captain, Jackson Woodard.
Jackson Woodard isn't. I mean, that game against the Syracuse game, even though they lost, and then of course the Boise game, he put on a show. I mean, that dude is everywhere the ball is. But yeah, give me UNLV tonight. I'm gonna take Fresno here, Jeff.
I like it.
I don't know. They're favored. It's interesting. And then Boise's got Wyoming. If you're Boise State, you got to come out strong. And I hate to say it because you did it earlier in the year. You got to get Genty out of there. That kid needs some rest. I mean, that kid needs.
Yeah.
They might. I've been talking about the bye and not the bye. They could use that thing. Get Genty some rest. Get that O-line back healthy.
Yeah, they need it. And Sprouse, one little nugget, and I assume it's senior day for Fresno State because it's their last home game. So there's going to be a little motion there.
Yep.
We'll see.
Hey, speaking of Fresno, I saw this yesterday. Your boy John Beam's hanging him up, huh?
Shout out to John Beam. 45 years coaching in Oakland, combined between Oakland and Laney College in downtown Oakland. And legend, absolute legend in the coaching world, not only in California, but put so many guys to D1 programs, so many guys in the NFL. Incredible human being, incredible coach. Love you, Coach.
Now,
Beam.
do you know the new guy? Do you know the new coach?
Josh Ramos? No, I don't. Not personally. He wasn't there when I was there. But Beam's handed it over to him. He's been there with Beam for, I want to say, like close to 10 years now. I think he got there shortly after.
We had him on the show a while ago. Arguably the best mustache in all of college football.
Without question. Catfish.
Yeah.
He's in our intro.
He is. Yeah, shout out to Coach Beam. Moving on to the Sun Belt. By the way, Jeff, do we have voicemails today?
Just one, the Lone Ranger.
Perfect. Sun Belt Conference. I think I got this right. If Louisiana loses another game, whether that be to Troy this weekend or Monroe next weekend, and South Alabama wins out, that's going to be your West representative. Because if they win out, they'll have head-to-head over Louisiana and Texas State. I think there would be a tie with. I think that's right.
I'm gonna read. See if I can find this. Got an email from a fan, Pat Greenwood.
Yeah.
And he says if Louisiana, and he's talking about, he says us, he's a South Alabama fan. He says if UL loses and we lose and Arkansas State wins out, Arkansas State goes.
State will get it. But if South wins out, they'll get in. But, well, Arkansas State beat South head-to-head.
I believe
That's
so.
That's the only team in the West that's like still in it that beat South.
It's crazy. Yeah, because
That thing's
Arkansas
wide open. And then there's still Texas State still has a shot, right?
No, because Arkansas State beat, or no, they lost to Texas State bad.
Yeah, I think Louisiana would have to lose 2. They would
Yeah.
have to lose out, I think, and then Texas State win out. Yeah, I mean, this thing's still wide open. 3-4 teams, and on the East.
I know.
The East is, I mean, every time you think it's over with.
I tell you what, that James Madison App State rivalry game in Boone, you saw it in the snow. I don't know if the snow's still going to be there. I'm sure they're going to clear the field. I don't know if more snow's coming or if it's still dropping in Boone, but God, that's going to be a great game. You know, it's going to be sold out.
Fun.
We got some great
That'll
football in the belt this weekend.
Sunbelt's
Marshall
got some good ones. Georgia Southern at Coastal, Marshall at Old Dominion. It's another one. Marshall at Old Dominion. Old Dominion 3-point favorites at home for Marshall. Give me the Road Dogs, buddy. I'm telling you, I'm on the Marshall train.
Yes, you are.
I am on the Marshall train,
like 'em
and
too.
I think we are going to have an absolute monster game. Marshall, James Madison, final week of the season.
Harrisonburg,
Buddy.
Virginia.
Oh, my God. Purple streamers flying everywhere. Place is going to be electric. ESPN Plus, probably. I mean, 5 p.m. kickoff. I'm sure it'll
be cold.
Just at the worst time. Yeah. I can't wait to force my family to watch Group of 5 football all weekend next week.
It'll be fantastic.
For Thanksgiving. But give me Marshall. I'm a little nervous for Georgia Southern going to Coastal, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm real nervous about that.
What's the line on that game? There's some sneaky lines this week that I like, ladies and gentlemen. Not that I know what I'm talking about betting wise, but you got James Madison 7-point favorites, Arkansas State 3-point favorites.
Well, Monroe's on a big losing streak, ain't they?
Yeah, Coastal's a favorite in that game by 2.5. Oh boy!
Oh.
All right.
What about the line on
Buckle
Troy,
up.
Louisiana? You got that one in front of
I
you?
sure do. Louisiana's 10-point favorites. It's a lot.
Now, is
Troy's
Joe calling
playing
the
good.
Troy faithful calling Troy to just completely ruin the championship game that was set in stone pretty much? Georgia Southern at Louisiana, and Troy goes and ruins it for both of them. Is that happening here?
Joe. I don't know. We'll see.
Now, if Louisiana wins, if they win,
They're good. They got it.
but do they have to win both still? No, or
Yeah.
no, or
Yeah,
just
they got to
gotta
win.
one?
Louisiana's got to win out.
Well, and they could still get in if they
But
lose
no, because
one.
they have the tiebreaker, don't they? For on most,
Well, they have They beat Texas State and they beat
they've beaten everybody.
Arkansas State. Yeah, but they didn't beat South. South beat them last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to freaking do a diagram.
yeah, you're right. Louisiana, but see, South could lose. I mean, they're not going to lose to Southern Miss, but who they play next week? They play. I don't know.
Who does South play next week?
Yeah,
Oh, come on, give me the damn page. Texas State.
Phew. So is that the? So if Louisiana
Well, no,
loses,
they play Southern Miss next week, and then they play Texas State.
yeah, they play Southern Miss tomorrow.
Or tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they finished the year with Texas State.
So if Louisiana loses one,
You'll have
and
ties.
South wins out, South will get in. If Louisiana loses one and Texas State wins that game, I think Louisiana's back in.
Yeah.
But if Louisiana loses out and Texas State wins that game, they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or Arkansas State if
That's
they
what I'm
win
saying.
out.
Arkansas State's still
A
in it,
lot
too.
of scenarios still.
A
lot of scenarios still. Anyway, we got one voicemail. Let's get it going. You guys call the hotline 615-900-4286. See what we got, Jeff.
Hey, fellas. It's your boy Ace Balls again. Time for your daily Marshall update. Just wanted to get to a few things, a couple here and there's, about Marshall and about some of the things involving the belt. I was the one that brought up Western Kentucky and Liberty coming to the Sun Belt possibly. Would love to see that. Maybe kick Georgia State to the west, take in Liberty and Western Kentucky to the east, make them a powerhouse. Doubt ECU would come, but that would be a dream of mine. We get Western in there, and then we have a couple really good rivalry games for Marshall. We've got the old mountain feud with App State. We've got the Moonshine Throwdown with Western Kentucky, and then we're trademarking the newest rivalry for Marshall, the Marshall-James Madison rivalry. They call it the Founders Cup. Don't like that. Want to change it to the Battle for the Gavel, baby. Yes, sir. Think that would be awesome. If not, I'd always want our non-con to be filled with Ohio, the Battle for the Bell, Western, the Moonshine Throwdown, and ECU. We need to come up with a name for that. But on to a couple other things. Guys, Mike Green's not getting his flowers throughout the nation. I mean, the guy is just an insane animal. His motor's nonstop. The best DE we've had since Vinnie Curry. Pretty sure he's close to lead the nation in sacks. If he's not, I'm not 100% sure on that. Would love to keep him for another year, but I'd be shocked if he doesn't go to the league. Right now they're projecting a second-round grade on him. But, he's leading the defense. Him and J.J. Roberts, the transfer from Wake Forest, who's a Huntington kid, have been spectacular this year. And our plethora of young linebackers. Leon Hart's been great. But A.J. Turner's been banged up. We get him back, and I'm pretty sure we get Elijah Metcalf back from our transfer from Middle. Thank you guys, by the way. Speedster, killer. But he's been unbelievable. But like I said, A.J. Turner and Mike Green are making this team go. If we can keep Braxton another year, and I'm making another plea to our AD, Christian Spears. I know you didn't pick him, Christian. Put the egos aside and re-sign Huff, man, please, for all our sakes. We've got the pieces coming back next year if we bring Huff back to make a run. All we've been really lacking the last pretty much decade is a solid quarterback. But guys, once again, thank you for all you do. Thank you for talking about G5 football. You guys are the best in the business at it. And go Herd.
Great call. And you are correct. Mike Green is leading the nation with 15 sacks. Next closest is a kid from Virginia Tech at 13.
That's a damn season now.
Yes, it is. And number 3, Trey White from San Diego State. How about that? 2 group of 5 guys in the top 5.
Man, San Diego State, for as kind of average as they've been, they've always got a good pass rusher. Always got a decent D-line somewhere along the way. But yeah, Marshall, I mean, Braxton's been playing good. A.J. Turner, and Elijah Metcalf. Isn't he the one that had the 99-yard touchdown against Miami?
No, that was DJ England Chisholm. But Metcalf I think he had a big touchdown in that game, though. Yeah. And y'all got to put your ego aside. Just keep Huff. He's a good coach, man.
When he's a damn good recruiter.
Especially if you're talking about Tudor's biscuits.
Yeah. But hey, anyway, that's all we got for you guys this morning. We appreciate everybody for jumping on, joining the live chat. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button. Make sure you go on all the socials and follow at Group of 5 Guys. Tell your family and friends all about us. Enjoy football tonight. Enjoy football tomorrow. We should have, by next week, we will have a clear picture. If this, then this. We'll know. Everybody's picture is going to be painted by next week, so we'll talk about that. We will see you Monday morning. We're out of here.